Good morning and welcome to the September 26th. This is the last press conference we'll have for the month of September. Happy you're here. We were just getting started. We were having some discussion. Obviously what we want to lead off with is obviously Hurricane Ian. At this particular time, your staff, city staff, worked diligently over the weekend trying to make sure we're prepared, and we are leaning forward in this. But at this particular time, it does appear that we are outside the cone. While we were outside the cone, many of you probably saw this weekend, we vacillated between being inside and outside the cone. So do not let your guard down just because today we're outside the cone. In fact, as I was interviewed this morning and several people were asking why they had interviewed us as we were outside the cone, I said I had the same exact question. But my comments were very much that we are leaning forward, and Florida is not a question of if, it's more a question of when, and we all know we need to be prepared. I know my wife and I went out and got water, got batteries, made sure we were prepared in the event that this storm came here. We all remember Sally, where it was projected to go somewhere else. It wasn't projected to come here, and ended up coming right here. So until this is no longer an event that poses any threat in the Gulf of Mexico, I am going to say that we need to vigilantly be prepared and trying to be evaluating. I will say that one of the person I really want to commend and talk a lot about what they do, because I don't think they sometimes get the credit. Certainly seeing Chief Craner in the back. She is our EOC response. She has been working all weekend despite not supposed to be working on the weekend. She's working diligently to make sure we're here. I do want you to know, apparently in the fire department there's a dance that she does to keep the hurricanes away from here, and she did do the dance. I have seen it on. I have seen a video of the dance that she does to keep the hurricane away. So you know, she simply told me, she said if it works, it's not superstitious, and I told her that I'm not superstitious, I'm just a little stitious. So again. We are at this particular time, we are preparing for that. While the confidence of the forecast of Ian has continued to increase and fluctuations in the track of possible areas of western Florida, northwest Florida, should be monitored and ready. Current potential threats for our area are rip currents, dangerous surf, potentially heavy rainfall, and strong winds. City of Pensacola and Escambia County will continue to monitor Hurricane Ian for any potential threats to our area. We will be, I will be meeting at I think 11:30, and I think I'll see the chief there. Escambia County, I know, is having something at the EOC just as they talk about what they're going to be doing. So we'll be looking at that. I want to go back to some things that we were doing last week, and happy to see one of our former residents here, longtime residents who's moved away, but I see you've returned, Aiden. So glad to see you, and I'll look forward to catching up with you after this is over. But I did at least want to recognize a few things that happened last week. Coffee with a Cop at the Studer Family Hospital, Children's Hospital in Raleigh, Pensacola. Obviously, we talked about September being Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and the importance of Raleigh and creating funding for childhood cancer research and recognizing what they do. I thought it was a great event, and able to have the police officers and the dog and there at the Children's Hospital, and certainly working with those children to make sure that there is research that's going on for childhood cancers as well. So I thought that was really important, and I appreciate Chief Randall and his team being there and being a part of that. So I thought it was really good. Obviously, last week, one of the biggest things that we did was the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol General Aviation ribbon cutting facility. Great looking facility. I know I saw several media out there. If you didn't get a chance to go out there, it really was impressive. I think they talked about how great a facility that is for a general aviation side. It's good to have them there. It now makes us truly international airport, not just in name, but we will actually, and they talked about some of the things that are happening. People are beginning to take charter and other type of smaller aircraft in. We believe it's a simple hop, skip, and a jump to bring them as we look at the next terminal, really to being a potential part of our next terminal expansion at the airport, and we hope to see real commercial aviation opportunities, both probably into the Caribbean, Latin America, and Canada. So those are all areas that we're looking that we think are real potential for the Pensacola Airport as we move forward and really being an international airport. So I think we'll all start with that Customs and Border Patrol building, and so we're glad to get that, have the ribbon cutting for that. We've also had some new public works team. We've hired some people for stormwater and construction managers. We're pleased to announce 2 new management positions. The Public Works and Facilities Department is welcoming the Building Constructions and Facilities Manager Rick Bates and Stormwater Facilities Manager Tony McCreary to the city team. Rick Bates has been selected as the new Building Construction and Facilities Manager for the City of Pensacola. He'll be bringing more than 25 years of experience in construction, public works, and project management to the position. In the new role, Rick will be responsible for maintaining and improving projects for the city, along with the operation and maintenance of all our city facilities. Rick joins the city from William Charles Construction Company in Rockford, Illinois, where he most recently served as a project manager. Tony McCreary has been selected as the new Stormwater Facilities Manager for the City of Pensacola, bringing 32 years of experience and service to the city. To this position as a Stormwater Facilities Manager, Tony is responsible for coordinating the day-to-day activities of the city's stormwater operations and management, along with managing employees in a variety of construction projects and maintenance programs. Tony has worked for the City of Pensacola for 32 years, most recently serving as an operations supervisor too, overseeing the street sweeping operations for the city and state roadways within the City of Pensacola. So it's great to see we were able to find talent from outside the area for one position, and we were able to find talent from inside our own organization and promote for another position. But we're very happy to have both of those gentlemen with their new positions and appreciate the work that they're doing. We also are looking to complete Hurricane Sally repairs at the Maritime Park, which is good, and we will shortly be finishing those also at Plaza de Luna. City of Pensacola has completed the Hurricane Sally repairs to the Community Maritime Park, including the floating day dock marina, providing free daytime use to public to dock their boats and enjoy the beautiful waterfront there. Repairs to the park included new brick pavers, railings, electrical work, and bulkhead restorations that were damaged in Sally, in addition to repairing the floating day dock. Obviously, we're hoping to see the day dock expand dramatically during its, in December, we're going to be putting in a new facility, but the day dock is open, but will be closed shortly, beginning for the new project that we'll be building there in the marina. Visit cityofpensacola.com for more details. We're certainly glad to get all those repairs done, and we look forward to the new day dock going forward. I think we also look forward to getting next month everything complete with Plaza de Luna. So both of those facilities, it will be good. This is a reminder that District 3, Councilman Casey Jones and I will be hosting a town hall meeting on Tuesday. That's at 5:30. It will take place at Gull Point Resource Center, which is located at 7000 Spanish Trail. So we hope you will be there to be a part of that. We will be looking forward to discuss what's going on in the very northern part of our city and in District 3. So we look forward and hope you will be there. ECUA has announced last week that they have completed the repairs to their materials recycling facility and will be soon collecting recyclable materials using a phased approach this week. Due to that phased approach, ECUA will not be accepting City of Pensacola recycling until the end of the week. We will resume pickup for all recycling at the City of Pensacola sanitation. Customers will begin on Monday, October 3rd. So this week, start doing all your practice in making sure that you're going to collect recyclables, because for next week, we'll begin separate recycling pickup with ECUA. We're very happy that they've repaired their facility, and we'll be back offering that service. So we're glad that will be happening. Last chance to apply for the Pensacola Youth Council. This is to remind you that we are accepting applications for the Pensacola Youth Council program with area high school students interested in becoming involved in community and learning the inner workings of local government and sharpening their leadership skills. Applications for the program are due Friday, September 20th at 4 p.m. The program will run from October 2022 to May 2023. Visit cityofpensacola.com or the City of Pensacola Facebook page for more details and apply this week. So again, it'll be expiring this Friday at 4 o'clock. So if you know somebody out there who in high school who would like to be active in our youth council, please sign up, and we look forward to hearing from that. We have obviously city council meetings this week. We have a meeting agenda review today, and this Hagler Mason at 3:30, so we'll be doing that. Followed will be CRA, and then city of council meeting will be at 5:30 on Thursday. That's assuming we don't have any challenges with the weather. We will continue to watch what goes forward with Hurricane Ian, and we'll continue to keep you updated. Lastly, we had the ribbon cutting at Hitsman Park, and we saw, it was just amazing to see all the people that we saw and what that park is becoming, and what's happening there, and the success we're having with soccer. We knew it was big. We knew our soccer program was growing, and we needed to do something. That's why those fields were built. But again, it's almost like what happened coming out of the pandemic at the airport. We didn't believe in our wildest imagination that it was going to be as significant a growth as they've experienced. And it really is amazing to see all the children that were out there. It was a great day for cutting the ribbon, and again, having the chance to open that. We did obviously open it last year in the fall, but we were obviously in the middle of Delta with COVID, so we held off on any opening and real celebration to the facility. So it was good to get that done and have that going, and it's been amazing in just one short year to see the success they've had there. Likewise about that, I think I include y'all in some things that were going on. Obviously today, one of the things on the topic of discussion is a very oddly arranged, but it really has much to do with the with Hitsman and a sign that was there. And again, we certainly had the opportunity to put a sign there. We said we wouldn't mind. We'll go put the sign somewhere else. But we do believe at the end of the day that we have for city businesses and city buildings, we have a mission to communicate with our people and be able to communicate clearly with them. And we think that many of the new signs like we have at the Vickery Center is a more effective way of communicating. We've got one coming from McGee Field. We had one for Hitsman. We're going to look at putting that in a different facility, but we have a number of places that want those things. And I think trying to address that in a strange, roundabout way is not necessarily the better way to do it. It'd be better to have that discussion more direct as to what we want to do. Plus, I think as we go forward, we've really seen it's not just the facilities director. Other directors have the opportunity when looking at city facilities to do and have the authority to do other things. And so from our standpoint, we see these as very much in the day-to-day operations is what we do, whether it's our public safety chiefs, whether it's even seeing in the back our people that are in charge of our facilities and public works. All of these things have opportunities to deal with our facilities. We see that as administering, and we see that very much falling within the executive branch and what we're doing. When we talk about doing this to other people and regulating other people, that is totally legislative, and we believe it's the council that should be making that. But when it comes to our own facilities, we believe that's a case of where we should be allowed to have that flexibility, and that's what we're asking for. So obviously I look forward to the discussion this afternoon, and we'll see where that goes. But again, I think this is more than just an issue of just discussing. As soon as you start taking up everything dealing with the Parks and Rec director, where does it stop? Where do you go? And I think clearly what the voters have said loud and clear is they like the system that we have, and they certainly supported it. I don't think we've had an individual we've never had an individual in the primary who was able to be successful in obtaining 51%. So as we move forward into the new mayor, I think, and the new administration, we certainly ought to give them every right to be able to administer as they need to be able to administer. So those are a couple things about the way I feel, but I'm happy to answer your questions on anything you might have, and we can look forward to answer those. Yes?
Mayor, you mentioned the CRA meeting today, this afternoon. There is no CRA meeting this afternoon.
Sorry about that. No CRA meeting this afternoon. That's right. Second meeting. We came out of the summer. We only have one meeting. This is the first time we've had 2 meetings a month, and I forget But that means next meeting, first meeting in October, we'll have CRA, so no CRA meeting today.
Mayor, has the city attorney's office opinion on that sign and the different ordinance apply, has that come back to you?
No, really, Charlie has been out since that. His son is getting married. He's been out. All the more reasons, Jim, I think this whole issue should take some time and wait to hear back from that. I think Ms. Lindsay, who is currently the acting city attorney, has been making some discussion. But I think that's one of the things that I think that Charlie needs to look at. And I think it would be good. Again, I don't see any reason why we need to press to make a decision right now. I agree with you. I think we should allow Charlie to come back and be able to make a decision on that.
I don't see any discussion item on the agenda about that issue. I know the emails that went back and forth between you.
There is again, it's a very strangely worded, and then Councilwoman Breyer did not include all the media on her comment, her email that she sent to me, but it was very clear, and staff saw it, and staff's in the room, that she said it is about the sign. But the question is that they want to send what is it? It's discussion about all ordinances, obeying all ordinances, federal, state, and local ordinances, and sending it to the Parks and Rec Board. Do you see that, Jim?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Again, you who follow us all the time don't really know what that means. It's very confusing.
Well, I guess, is your argument that the city council can't pass an ordinance that can apply to what the city can put up in a park department? Because that's kind of what...
My issue is that the powers that the Parks and Rec Director has are powers that we reserve to be able to use our own stuff on our facilities. The Parks and Rec Director doesn't. It's being asked that the Parks and Rec Director is allowed to make decisions that conflict, and I simply say they don't conflict. They only deal with property that we own. I find it interesting that she says, well, we say that only school board can do that. Well, why do we allow schools to do that? I mean, if this is such an issue that we should block it from Parks and Rec, why do we allow schools to do it? The reason we allow schools to do it is the city council doesn't make rules for the school board, yet we allow governmental facilities in our community to have signs that are different. So I see our facilities, our Parks and Rec, our community centers no different than I see schools. And I mean, clearly we allow schools to happen and do
You're
that.
talking about them having LED signs.
Correct.
But
Schools
I
can
guess-
have LED signs.
I guess beyond that is, from the email exchange, it was like you were arguing that the city council can't pass an ordinance that could restrict what the parks.
No, what I said was the issue has been on there is, do we comply with all federal, state, and local guidelines? And I say that we do, and allowing the Parks and Rec Director to make those decisions does not conflict with federal, state, or local guidelines. I've said if you wish to directly pick up the sign vote, and that's what you want, and you want to make a rule on that, then you should pick up that directly and be transparent with everyone, exactly what I said, rather than try to take an ordinance and not be really transparent in what you're trying to achieve.
Everybody in the whole room may follow this better than I'm following it, so forgive me, and maybe some folks on Facebook will be, then what are we talking about?
We did send it to WAIR News, so you have the whole email exchange.
Okay.
You don't have the email exchange from Councilwoman Breyer.
Well,
Anyways,
I'm clearly not briefed up on it. My apologies. I just thought maybe somebody else.
I'm happy to discuss it with you. I know that Jim spent a considerable amount of time.
Yeah. I don't want to bore anybody else in the room, but could we have like the?
I'll be more than happy to.
Thank you.
At Hitsman, we are moving forward, finishing out the construction project. One of the things that we had the opportunity to do was a sign. If you drive down Summit and see the sign we have in front of the Victory Center. It's about the same. It's almost the exact same height, the exact same sign. I think it's slightly a little bit dimensions, but generally the problem that she's had is it's 10 feet in the air. Well, that one's 10 feet in the air. The reason it's 10 feet in the air is you're by an intersection. You want cars to be able to see underneath. The sign is not that big. The better part of that, if you drive by tonight, drive by that one and then go down the street in front of Roger Scott, the tennis center, and you'll see an old school one with the, the neon, the bulbs in it and everything else. You'll be amazed at how much less light the LED lights, the new technology puts out. And when you look at it, this is the reason we're not getting any complaints. We also have one that we've done apparently at Bayview. Our whole goal is to do these everywhere. We have one going in at McGee Field at this point, also kind of in the middle of a neighborhood, but nobody's complaining about that one. But we had one that was going there. Councilwoman Breyer said she didn't want it. I said, fine. I said, right now we got more parks that want these signs. We'll just put it somewhere else. Well, obviously, as I've communicated a couple times with Jim, and he knows back and forth, the issue has gotten bigger than that. Now we've got a thing coming before us that says, well, we gotta send this to the Parks and Rec Department about the fact that we follow all state, federal, and local guidelines. I mean, okay, what does that mean? We follow all state, local, and St. Adrian, and within that, the Parks and Rec facility director has an ability to look at our own facilities and make decisions about what kind of signs we want to use. If you look at the two signs on Summit, the one at Roger Scott and the one that's in front of the Vickery Center, you'll notice the Vickery Center is a new one. We can display new messages. We can put up new messages every day. Now, at Roger Scott, we technically could put up new messages every day, but it's the kind where you get the pole and you pop it down on the letter, and then you got to put it in there, and you got to move all the letters around. And if you've ever done that, I've done that. It's the most inefficient use of time when you can just type it in and it immediately changes. You drive by the one today at Vickery, you'll see totally new messages tomorrow. We'll be talking about, I know I've been by there, we've been talking about volleyball. Next time we're talking about pickleball. Next time we're talking about sign up for basketball. That's how dynamic what we do is. Our community centers are the same way. We do so many things in there. To go to the old school way of the Roger Scott sliding letters through there and taking a bunch of time and sending somebody out there to do it, it just takes too long. We need to be able to very quickly, and the technology already exists. And by the way, you're going to see it's a lot less intrusive to the neighborhood when you drive by and see both of those signs. So we've kind of made a decision that was what we were going to put in. Councilwoman Breyer does not like it. But at the end of the day, from our standpoint, we're like, fine, we'll go put it somewhere else. But it has been one of these things that she's been determined to do, and we've said these are powers that you're looking to take. It's not just about the sign. If you want to address the sign, bring the sign to the council and let them make a decision. But you're beginning to mess with the powers of what the Parks and Rec director can do, or any other director, and it's this whole tension between, well, the council wants these powers, the mayor wants these powers. If we each have our checks and balances, we should allow that to work together and figure out how we go. But we waste time in this whole, well, this is our power and that's our power. They have the ability to legislate. When it comes to anybody else's property, they legislate and we enforce. We have no problem with that. When it comes to our property, we administer. And those are things we make the decision of what we want to do. And for all the reasons I just mentioned to you, granted these signs are expensive, more expensive than the old ones, but we are looking to try to implement those. And when I talk to other council members, they would like to see these. I've got a council member that wants 2 of these in their community centers, which are in neighborhoods right by houses, but they're like, this is the more effective way to communicate with people so that they know what's happening at our community centers. I mean, we have the technology. We don't have to simply go out and put tape up a piece of paper to somewhere that somebody's got to get out of their car and then come see what's going on at the community center. We have the ability to communicate with them digitally, almost real time. We should take advantage of that. And I get it, and Pensacola change is difficult. Change is hard, and people don't like it sometimes. But at the end of the day, it is allowing us to be more effective in what we do. And I wouldn't make this argument. I've discussed this a significant amount of time with Jim. I wouldn't make this argument if I didn't believe this was a much more efficient way for us to communicate. And much of what we're doing in this nebulous way about the signage just doesn't, it comes to the whole issue of the different powers, the administrative powers that the mayor has and the legislative powers that the council has. And I just think it's one of those things that again, we got to work to figure out solutions that work for us. But at the same time, I would say council is not going to be nearly, if they look to just take up the sign issue, Jim, I don't think there's wide difference of opinion, as you'd expect within a city, on what council members want. So again, I think that's something they should have a discussion about. I think trying to get that to an action, sending that to a board that's an unelected board doesn't seem to make sense to me. So, you know, obviously it's coming before us today. I think they need more time to discuss it and figure out what they want to do. But obviously they'll start making decisions tonight, and obviously Thursday night we'll see what comes up. So I hope that kind of brings you up to speed.
Tremendously helpful.
And I hope you get a chance to take your camera crew out there, and especially at maybe not quite 6 o'clock. You might have to go for the 10 o'clock show. You might have to get there about 7 when the lights go down. Take a look at those two, because the good news is they're right next to each other. You got the one at the tennis center, and you got the one at Vickery, and it's night and day compared to the amount of light they put out.
Very good, thank you.
Yes.
Mayor, sometimes they say that election season is the silly season. Let me ask you something. Charles Baer at a candidate forum last week, Charles Baer, candidate for D2, said that one of the possible solutions to the affordable housing situation was to convert Pensacola City Hall to a residential building and relocate government offices elsewhere in the city. What's your reaction to that?
Well, what we do here in this building every day will have to be done somewhere. It can't. I mean, it doesn't have to be done here, but it has to be done somewhere. I would say that perhaps the councilman challenging may want to look at what construction prices are, because I don't know that we necessarily want to go construct a new place for this. Not to mention, this building right here is not really made for residential, so you'd have to reconstruct all that. So it seems like we would spend a lot of money to relocate our positions, and then have to spend a lot more money to retrofit this building. Why don't we just approve apartments at 4 and 5 and other places, and just let residential come in here a lot better? There's a better way to do that. I mean, I appreciate the thinking outside the box, but we would spend a whole lot more money. And I think you're correct, John, in what you say. The election season is always interesting to see what people say, and I get it. They're all trying to make a name for it, but I mean, if you really analyze that, we'd be spending a lot more money and to not achieve any better service. We'd be better off moving quickly. Maybe that's what candidate Baer was focused on. Maybe he should have just said we should just approve 4 and 5 and get moving on some residential downtown. I don't know. It seemed like that'd be a lot more efficient. Otherwise, all right, thank you very much. Continue to keep watching the storm. Obviously, we need to be mindful of what's going on. Don't take it lightly. Anything can change. Don't get lulled into sleep just because a certain track or a certain cone is put out there. We need to be vigilant. This is going to be a storm that's in the Gulf, and it's going to do some significant damage somewhere. We'll continue to monitor. If we get through this and we're unscathed, at that point we'll look and see whatever we can do to help. We'll move into help mode, and we'll see what we can do. Thank you very much, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month.